Yo, we back in action. I got the kid, Nico. What's good with you, baby?
I've been hanging out, hanging in there. But
Hey,
things,
you've been hanging in there. Okay,
yeah,
good to get.
had a little personal incident, little by little, trying to get out of that. But
Okay,
it's
well,
all good. It's all good.
we glad you're healthy. We glad you're good. You're still amongst the land of the living. So we're in it to win it. So that's what it means, man. That's what it
That's
means.
what it
So
means.
so Nico, we got a hot topic today in regards from kind of what we spoke on from before with the aspects of relationships. So today's topic, and I know I have experience with it, and you have experience with it as well, is the effect of having firsthand experience with an alcoholic significant other. I have an alcoholic girlfriend. So you do you want to start or you want me to roll with it? Because we can go either
Um,
way.
you start and I'll go for you. I'll
Okay.
go for you. Yeah.
Okay. So this is not to be disparaging against this individual, as no names will be named. What will be speaking on is the experience. So years ago, I was in a relationship with an individual. Great woman, awesome, super artistic. She had great communication skills. Just a joy to be around. Just especially for the spaces in my life where I was going on. It was a really you know it was a comfortable fit. I can't say it was a good fit, but it was a comfortable fit. Um, and even at the time, I didn't really want to be in a relationship, but it just kind of meshed, and it was very helpful at the time. First person I ever lived with, first woman I ever lived with outside of the women in my family. And it was rocking for a little bit, but there was an issue that became more prevalent as the relationship went on. My girlfriend at the time, she had a drinking problem, and not just so much as an excessive drinking problem, like drinking too much, but it was more so the character and the individual she would become once drinking got to a point of no return. So, for what I can speak on, it's the what I was going through the process. I found myself as being a protector and a provider. So we had great communication, great relationships, but I realized later on that relationship changed my approach when engaging other women and going and being sociable, and alcohol would then be presented. So, you know, alcohol at dinner, alcohol during brunch, going out for specifically just drinks, drinking at the house, social events around others that are drinking. It changed my behavior in these circles, and I kind of had to acknowledge it that it created an aspect of trauma that I didn't think it would affected me, where I really had to realize that I thought it just really affected her. And it was interesting that I found myself reminiscing back to that relationship and realizing that my girlfriend at the time's alcoholism was keeping me up at night because I was worried about, was she going to make it home safe? Was she going to make it home alive? What I would hope to God not to get a phone call from Tampa PD, or she get a call from Orient Road talking about I got arrested, I got a DUI, things of that nature. There was always that, but there was instances of just outlandish, just reckless and dangerous behavior that just got worse and worse over time. And it was, for me, in my experience, the individual I was dating on alcohol, when she was drinking, she became a completely different person. This is a person that she would get bumps and bruises and cuts that she didn't know where she got them from. To completely black out, forget certain things, forgetting happenings. Responsible girl too, hardworking girl, but it just, alcohol became a prominent factor where there's like no social event could go where alcohol would be involved, and then it was always shooting past shooting past the healthy boundary to where, like, even in my present life now, it takes a lot for me to drink around a woman that I'm engaging. If she's drinking, I'm not drinking. And I came out of the bar industry. If it's one of those things where, like, thank God we have Uber now and we have Lyft, but back then it was just too much of a risk. And for me, if I noticed that, a woman or a man or whoever from especially from the industry I work in, if they have an identifiable drinking problem, being able to cut themselves off, or if their behavior, if they become a whole different individual, that's just a line I'm not even going to cross. Just if I find out you have a drinking problem, I'm gonna just ask where you are in regards to recovery. But more than likely, I'm going to make the determination that I'm just not going to engage that person beyond friendship, maybe acquaintanceship, but nothing like romantic, like involved relationship. So that's just me on that. What about you, boss?
Well, I wanted to ask you first, how like were you ever like able to communicate how you felt to her? And if so, how did she respond? How did she take it?
Well, initially, when it comes to anything a person has a personal issue with, it takes them acknowledging it first. And a couple of times at first, the behavior would be really, really not dismissive, but it'd be really just irresponsible. And it'd just be like, hey, you forgot to do this. You behave like this. And you get a lot of the, oh, I'm sorry's, and I didn't mean it, and I was just having fun. It was basically that deflection. And then as things started going on, there was some times out in public, it was just reckless. And even the circle of friends around us had to be like, oh, is she all right? Is she okay? Because we all could identify the signs of alcoholism. It's just that, what do you do? Because at that moment, you can only protect that individual to make sure they don't hurt themselves or hurt others. But then after they sober up and you get through recovery and all of that, they recover, you got to address them. And I would do that, but it was basically like I was coming from a place where I'm just like, look, if it's not that if you love me enough to stop, it's do you love and respect yourself enough to acknowledge that you do have a problem? And alcohol or drugs, or it could be work. You could be addicted to work. You could, as long as if you don't have a healthy equilibrium with things you got on in your life, alcohol being one of those, if that's your escape method, you can't allow it to allow you to escape, and then something comes back to take your place, and it's just a monster out here, because you'll ruin your life. You'll hurt others. You'll hurt yourself. Needless to say, she got in an accident, single car accident years later, based on alcoholism. I think she totaled her car. We even met up. We went to a Lightning game, and we went to the Lightning game, and I told myself, like, look, I knew she had already got in trouble. I already knew that happened. But she was upfront, and we spoke about it, and she still was drinking those really expensive alcoholic beverages at the hockey games. And I decided not to drink, because I was just super uncomfortable knowing the history, going through the history with this individual, and to still see them, even after they technically got a DUI, their licenses have been stripped. It's just, you're still here drinking. You can control it. You nearly never were really in control of it. And if you didn't follow the steps for proper recovery to first acknowledge it, then you haven't started on a path of even, addressing the issue. So then, there was that. I said my piece on it, but, a person's got to love themselves and respect themselves enough to acknowledge their problem and see how it hinders them before they really start looking at, oh, I'm hurting my loved ones, I'm hurting my family, I'm hurting my kids. If that's your escape mechanism, you got to find something new, or you're gonna keep indulging in that. So yeah.
Okay, nice. Well, my story is honestly pretty much the same. This was like an amazing person, but I was not was not the most familiar with the whole addiction problems. Like to me, it was like, I know some people have issues. Of course, I met people with it, but I never had like first experience.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first date, like I was like, well, she's really like getting drunk, and we're drinking, but that's not kind of what I had in mind, because I actually I was really like into her. So I said, like, let's sit down and talk and get to know each other. But she kind of made it more about drinking, and this was the very first night. And I mean, to me, of course, I didn't think anything of it at all, because I wasn't familiar. And then I started noticing that there was a pattern, always with drinking, always with alcohol. And then I started noticing that she changed. And then I started noticing that she would put that in like before us, or how do you say it? It's
a
more
priority.
important.
Yeah, she prioritized it. Yeah, she prioritized it.
Prioritizing it. And it's just kind of, I really wanted to try it, because I mean, I have, of course, like very strong feelings for her, but it was just always a thing. So it was like, it was always me number two. And then whenever I tried to help, I just got chewed out, and hell broke loose. So I just feel like it was something very sad, because it's an absolutely amazing person. And I mean, nobody's perfect, but putting that aside, I had no complaints at all. No complaints. Of course, there were minor things that, disagreements and stuff, but they weren't worth even me sitting down and thinking about like the pros and cons. Like, they're that small, So I mean, it's someone that I wanted something to have something more lasting
So
with.
yeah, something substantial with.
And it sucks that something like that would kind of break us up. Does that make sense? It's very sad, because you see like great potential in somebody that you don't see in like most people, and then over this one thing, like everything just gets ruined.
Yeah.
So,
but alcoholism, like any type of addiction, it's a significant factor, because you're looking, especially if you love this person, or you have deep affection for this person, you might end up having to try to rescue this person from themselves, the villain of themselves. And it's one of those things that you can't really rescue them. They have to want to be rescued, and really have to rescue themselves. They got to start on the process of, removing themselves from whatever vice that is. And like I said, alcoholism is bad, but you have people who have drug addiction problems. I'm people who can't break away and not smoke weed before they go to work, or whatever, and it becomes an addiction. Or some people who can't take time off from work. Some people who can't break away from the television. Some people who can't, there's just things they just can't. Gambling. There's a lot of vices out there, and any of these vices, they're casual. A lot of times they're casual, unless it's like, cocaine or meth or something that's right out the gate. But anyway, Nico, we come from a mental health background. We understand that with the psyche of the human being, the individual, it's one of those things that when you see it, it's patternized. And unfortunately, for our affection or interest in the person, potential or not, when you're dealing with someone who that is the priority, everything else takes a back seat. Their health takes a back seat. Their responsibility takes a back seat. Their progress takes a back seat, because a lot of times people feel they can manage it and be functioning while they are indulging. Few people are functioning addicts, where others are just winging in a prayer, and then eventually they're just going to burn out. I don't know about you, my guy, but for me, living with someone, being in a living space, things just changed, and things just kind of fell apart between us. Like I said, I got mad love for her. She was, like I said, she was the best communicator of any woman I've ever dated. The most artistic, humble, but I have to acknowledge a couple of things in regards to her childhood. She had a strict father. She had a playful mother who was basically more like her friend, her big sister, or her friend, than more so than the mother that I acknowledge. Though her mom's cool, she had a brother who literally, as a man, he didn't identify with manhood unless he was in a relationship with a woman. If he was by himself, he was a child. But when he's with a woman, he becomes a man. So he would need a woman for leadership. So, a strong sister, maybe a strong mother, that was that. And he had his drinking issues as well. But what I noticed is that the stresses and the weight placed upon her by, I think, her circle, it's one of those things that it could drive you to drink, especially if you have issues with your own image or your own ability or where you're going on in life. It's just one of those things. Now, boss, I'm gonna ask you a question. Yeah. With the girl that you were dating, since alcohol was her vice, before you met her, her circle that was around her, her family, her friends, did they notice it, to your knowledge?
And that's a great point you bring up. Yes and no. They saw, more specifically, a very, very close family member. Mm-hmm. She said that she had a problem with taking responsibility for, what do you call it? For your actions, like seeing the consequences of your actions.
Yeah, accountability.
So they saw it, yeah, exactly, accountability. So this person didn't see it as a drinking problem. They just saw it as an everything problem, which is true. But we kind of disagreed on the actual alcoholism, like giving it a name amongst like all the other things. Mm-hmm. That's where the disagreement was. So, and of course, I wasn't the only close person to her. And when you have other people who are like, yeah, it's completely fine, it's completely cool, blah blah blah, it happens, and like they also don't realize it. And that's her circle her whole life. Mm-hmm. I mean, in a way, I don't even blame her, because they're all older people, they're all family, and she's been 100% influenced by them. Yeah. So to me, that's also a reason how I felt like I was alone in the process of getting her to be better, because it's like I'm her boyfriend, but like authorities, so to speak. I mean, because she's already an adult. In her life, people she looks up to, whatever, mm-hmm. they're not on the same page as me. Yeah. So it's like me against like 5 people who say I'm exaggerating or I'm being too extra.
Yeah, because they're complicit. Yeah, it makes it worse because she has a place to be coddled, and they're complicit, or maybe they don't want to see it, and maybe they've dealt with it, or she has different respect for them to know that, regardless of how hard the monster is raging, she's not going to rage around certain places or certain people, whereas, for us, we're dealing with people on our level who might not have that revere for us. So it is that thing, man. Well, I ask you this, you say you got chewed out and innovation. What was the alcoholism? Would you say that was a primary reason your relationship ended?
100 million %.
100 million %.
It was only that. It was only that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
It was only that.
If I don't know if you still keep contact with this individual, or you have similar circles, would you be able to speak on the fact that either she has gotten help or she hasn't gotten help, or has she just naturally started to abstain because she's older and maybe she has some understanding, or what would you say your understanding of her situation would be if you could now?
I would honestly have no idea.
Oh, bad.
Okay. She kind of like cuddled ties with me because she, was not the happiest when things ended, and we kind of kept in touch a couple of months after the breakup. Yeah. But she just kind of had some resentment towards me, and she was not the nicest. So yeah, because you were like, what,
you were gonna end up confronting her about her alcoholism, because that's not a healthy dynamic between you and her. It's not a healthy dynamic for her and anything else, whether her physical health or anything of that nature. Likewise, alcoholism wasn't what broke the camel's back in my relationship. We just kind of grew apart, and that became so prevalent that I just got used to her being somebody else, and it was dangerous. And then just the beauty and the art in our relationship had just kind of died. So, we just kind of like, I'm real matter of fact when it comes to ending a relationship. So if it ends, it ends. I'm not the kind of person to really fight for it, because I shouldn't have to fight you to be in a relationship with you. And then that I got to the point where I couldn't be staying up in the middle of the night, waiting to hopefully you walk through the door, you know, unharmed, not assaulted, not somewhere passed out, I can only imagine how much I worried. I can only imagine how much her mother and father would worry, seeing those things. Cause I know, since she had her accident, and got the, her DUI. Now it's evident. There's a record, it's on a record. You had your license suspended, for alcohol, for drinking. Yeah, DUI. Yeah, that could happen just one off night you're drinking, but you have a history of it. I'm just thankful she's not an aggressive like fighter. That's just one of those things. I'm just glad she's not a fighter, but hey, it is what it is. It's actually a weird situation. After that relationship ended, I literally ran into and started having dealings with another alcoholic right after that. Back to back. And that secondary one was like, I just had to think back and like what kind of place I was in my life. A lot of stress that for some reason that type of energy was gravitating towards me. But that was when I was really in the scene and I was really out in the bars and doing that. And I had impeccable control of over how I conduct myself. But it was just getting exhausting being around those who need more than babysitting. They need security. They need real security. They need a therapist. They need these things. And, I look at it now as it's like, if you look up these cases, I look back and it's like, I don't feel, pity for them or sympathy or anything like that. I just feel like I'm hoping that they have taken opportunity or something has happened in their life, other than, unbelievable loss of life or just things you can't recover from, that they would get the help that they need. So they can at least acknowledge it, because I would hate for these women who have alcohol problems to bump into another alcoholic who's aggressive and put their hands on them. And, or other vices, gambling, and you ruin your financial life and stuff like that. So that's one of the things in regards to the having an alcoholic significant other or any vice. It sucks. It's especially if both people have a vice that kind of clash, like a drug problem and a gambling problem. Oh man,
that's bad. That's bad. And also something about all that is that the with alcoholism, especially, which I think most cases when you're in denial, that's because we were just talking about acknowledgement. So the way I felt was that, and this how I felt towards the end. Like say, your girlfriend's in denial of it. But if you keep trying to work it out and try to get them to be better and being there for them and trying different things, maybe testing their strength, maybe taking alcohol away, maybe doing this, maybe being a little like rough or strict, or maybe being super laid back, and you try everything and then you're still there saying no, she's going to improve, he's going to improve, whatever. And then it does happen. Now something just happened. Now you're in denial. So that's how I felt in the end. I'm like, well, I'm talking all this shit about her being in denial and messing up the whole relationship, but I'm doing the exact same thing.
Oh yeah. So you felt like you were an enabler. You felt like you might be been enabling it. Well, you were trying you were trying to present a solution, but ultimately, since the thing you realized is that you know she needs help. We both know that they need help. We need help in our own regards, but it's up to the person. It's up to the person to acknowledge their issue and seek therapy. I'm not a therapist. You're not a therapist. They need to see a 12-step program. They need to get into, a program that will basically wean them off and say, okay, because I know a lot of people, who personally they celebrate sobriety, and if we ever went out or we do stuff, they'll tell me straight up, Rick, I can't sit in a bar. I can't go to certain places. I can't do certain things. I can't be around it. I can't do hookah. I can't do certain things. And I respect it. I respect it, because I don't understand that struggle. I don't understand that walk. I don't understand that fight. Yeah, you can relate to certain things, but I can't relate to that level. Like something in you controlling you to the point where it will dominate your life and basically disregard all other things, or you or you'll get in such a way that you won't even be the person that we know out here. So it's just one of those things, man. Like I said, me personally, now I vet deeply. I'm vetting everything. I'm vetting everything from vices. I'm looking looking at your background check. I'm looking at how you conduct yourself with other people. I'm looking at how if did you react, regardless of do you respond. I'm looking at people who are mindful, objective, and can control themselves. The people who it's always someone else's fault. They always did right by everybody, but it was always someone else's fault for something. And, they just did what they had to do. This is a whole different tangent, but those type of people, I completely avoid those type of individuals because we all are at fault. And a lot of times it's equally balanced in regards to what we put in and what we get out. We might get a little bit more at one end as opposed to the other, but there's an equivalent exchange in regards to the efforts and what we receive. So I just tell myself, especially when you get something as clear as say alcoholism, drug abuse, gambling problems, or significant mental health issues, narcissism, being narcissistic or being being psychopathic or sociopathic. Once you identify those traits, it'd be like, okay, you're a human being, and you are entitled to certain rights and liberties, but not my time and not my space. I'm good. I'm good. I mean, alcoholism, someone with that would never enter my space again. Just, it is what it is. Unless you're at the bar drinking.
Yeah, I mean, that means you learned from your mistakes. And also, I remember a couple of times just separately, just going out with coworkers or like friends. Like I've met people who are like, no, I'm not having any drinks at all. And then you can roast them, you can peer pressure them and stuff and all that. And then I learned that they had that problem. And what do you call that thing on your ankle that monitors your alcohol level?
The BAC? Your blood alcohol content?
Yeah, like going through the whole thing. And I'm talking about DUIs. The whole 9 yards. And I would see them and I was like, wow, like this is going to be her, like thinking in the back of my brain, which I still do, but just not in the moment in time that we met. I mean, I still think it's possible. But I don't know. Will it be a week from now? Will it be a year, 20 years from now? Like when you're older, like, I mean, do I sentence myself just because you don't see value in life and you just want to drink every single day away?
Yeah. Because it's escapism for a lot of people. They like that feeling. They like who they are in that feeling, or they like not having control, and they go to a quiet place in their psyche, but then something else comes out, something else crawls out of them. So they say a drunk tongue speaks a sober mind, but I've sometimes the drunk tongue isn't speaking a sober mind; it's speaking a monstrous spirit. That's why they call alcohol spirits. You never know what kind of person a person is. You got all kinds of different drunks. I've seen them all. Drunks that fight, drunks that cry and sob and weep and wail, and drunks that they get super promiscuous. You get drunks that get super deep, and they all of a sudden know the meanings of life. You got plenty of drunks that just pass out, black out, don't remember anything. A good time drunk. A lot of people talk, oh, well, y'all like to have a good time and tipsy, whatever. Yeah. Everything within moderation. But once you identified as a certain type of drunk, that keyword drunk, and that should tell you something. That's the flag, man. I don't care if you're a happy drunk. You shouldn't be drunk. Enjoy yourself, have fun, but don't. Everything has its place, man. But
I think it's about like preferring that person you become than the person you are without it. Which should be, of course, the person you always are. I mean, not always literally 100% of the times, but the actual you, without any external help to your brain.
Well, yeah, but I understand some people they drink to lower their inhibitions so they can be a little bit more confident. You drink, liquid confidence. But there are training methods to raise your confidence level to make it to where you can be more personable, that you can engage, you can initiate conversations. Those are soft skills that you can increase. You can, I know some people have anxiety issues and whatnot, but within reason, you can balance yourself out and learn techniques to be more sociable on that regard. If you like, because I know some people say they drink, it makes me more personable. Well, you shouldn't have to drink to be more personable. Just learn more personable skills. Learn how to open a conversation. Learn how to conduct a conversation. Learn how to converse with other individuals. That's it. Learn cues, learn stories, get a background. Identify the things that you like. Identify the things that you don't like. Set boundaries and get to know yourself. So you can present yourself. You don't got to sell yourself, but present yourself. Have confidence. That's what you need. If you got to drink liquid confidence, the liquid will take you wherever. But if you have confidence within, you could turn it on and turn it off when you're ready. And that's really what we should be doing. Alcohol doesn't make things more fun. It just messes with your equilibrium and messes with your vision. And that lower and that inebriated feel it has its aspects, but that's not a place we should want to live. That's not a place. No, that's not a place we should want to live.
Absolutely not. You shouldn't be living like that. You should put band-aids on problems, but we will put a band-aid on this one. Everybody, what do you think about Rico's experience, about my experience? Can you relate? Do you think you may have a drinking problem? Do you think your significant other, aka SO, may have a drinking problem? Leave a comment down below, hit the like button, subscribe, share it, and turn the notification bell on.
That's what's up.
Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Nico, appreciate you for sharing. Y'all be good. Enjoy yourselves. And till the next one.